What's up, Sweater Show listeners? Here outside the Lakers training facility, getting ready to get in there for another day of treatment, another day trying to just get a little bit better. Working to get back each and every day.
What's up, everyone? Friday, November 4th. It's actually my cousin Rosie's birthday, so shout out to Rosie. Happy birthday, Rosie. I think she tunes into the pod, so terrific interview with G-Mac. Thanks to him again for coming on. If you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. It's on, wherever you've listened to previous episodes, or if it's your first time listening, Spotify, Apple Music. But since that ran a little bit longer, if you listen to the podcast already, you know that we promised not to skip out on the mailbag question of the week this week. We're just going to deliver it in a little bit different of a way, which is the reason for this video. This week's mailbag question of the week comes from Daniel Fitzpatrick, who is me and Swider's very good friend. He was a manager for us last year at Cuse. He's now a grad assistant at Iona. He's killing it. So thanks, Fitz, for submitting the question. And this week's mailbag of the question reads as follows. This question was inspired by the photo of the Lakers with Will Smith, which we'll actually probably post with this. Pretty cool. Last week, Will Smith showed up at the Lakers practice. I think he watched them practice, and they got a picture with them after. So Swider's in the background, or in the picture, in the back row, like 2 people away from Will Smith. So if you two could each host anyone in the world, in parentheses, outside of basketball, on the podcast, who would it be? Hope the boys are doing well, Fitz. Fitz, we hope you're doing well. And there's also a PS, which is the most important part of the message. PS, Paddy carries. I agree. Thanks, Fitz. But like I said, pretty hard question, pretty tough question. I think we're 8 for 8 now with mailbag questions of the week. And if you include the mailbag episode, probably like 30 for 30. So
this week's mailbag question from Dan, non-basketball players, would probably be Steve Jobs and Martin Luther King. 2 very impactful people in our society, and obviously 2 very impactful people for just different parts of society.
The caveat of outside of basketball is pretty tough because it's a basketball podcast. It's kind of where your mind goes first. I think if I were to just ignore Fitz there and give my basketball answer, first person that comes to mind, I think undisputed, hands down, number 1 would be Allen Iverson. I haven't seen him do much media. I think he's been on a handful of podcasts. I think he was on like All the Smoke. He's done a couple videos here and there, but every time I see a clip of him on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is, always delivers. He's a great storyteller, great sense of humor. Obviously being a Philly sports fan, he was like amazing growing up. I don't remember his prime all that well, but I think he'd have some of the best stories of any athlete ever, and he'd tell them in a phenomenal way. And arguably maybe the most influential basketball player of all time, so I think that would be amazing. And the other thing about Iverson is that there's definitely this sort of trend that older players can have some bitter quotes about the current players, and he's just always like showing love for all the current players. I think he has Steph like top 5 in his all-time top 5. I love that. That's amazing. So I'd say him. Current players, I mean Lillard. Damian Lillard's been my favorite player since I was probably 10, 11 years old. So personally, that would be like a dream come true. We met Giannis last year. I think Giannis would be awesome. He has a very good sense of humor. Obviously with the accent, his voice is very cool.